I'm told great relationship talk. Thank you for those who are tuning in. Again, we are following closely for this reason. Even though we talk current events on the podcast all the time, this particular individual has influenced the culture in a great, tremendous way. So that is the reason why we are following closely what the judicial system is doing with the likes of Sean P. Diddy Combs. And we are trying to see from both perspectives, from the government who has brought this case against Sean P. Diddy Combs alongside the defense that's representing him in a huge way. High profile names on that defense team, nine plus defense attorneys and counsel on that defense team for this one. Well, until today, one man, Sean P. Diddy Combs. And we know that we have some updates on that number changing today, and we are going to get directly into that. Thank you for coming back by. For all those who do, I appreciate you because I know that there are a host of other content creators out there that you can go and get all of your updates from. And again, if I haven't said it enough to those to my friends in Canada, in the UK, Germany, and the different places that you're tuning in and listening to me and military family, we're kind of bonded in all kind of other ways. But you guys come by and you take and support me. My military family understands my journey, so they understand a great deal what this is for me to be doing the things that I do. So I appreciate all others who show up. Also, new to all things D Shields, not a problem because I hope that you will stick around. Thank you for the new follows. If you will tap and follow the host. And I appreciate your daily heart mutes as well. I'm going to give thanks all the time for the attendance, for tuning in, for listening in. Always appreciative. Let's talk about some content creators for a minute regarding the Diddy trial. As you can see outside the courtroom, tons of people are outside the courtroom. Not only are they constantly every day showing up, trying to get every bit of information that they can, they have their tripods and their iPhones and they are busy becoming greater even than the mainstream media that's out there. You are getting a lot of content from the content creators, and they were featured on some of the mainstream platforms from Nightline to ABC to a host of other platforms, had some of the top on their platform. Armand Wiggins did an interview yesterday. Influencer Tisa Tells did an interview. Did I say her name correct? Tisa Tells did an interview yesterday, and people are saying, yes, they are getting a lot of tea. Armand Wiggins, if you remember him, is the influencer that moved from California to New York. In the interview, he tells us how he moved from California to New York. He specifically put a budget together so that he could relocate to New York once he heard about the court date for Sean P. Diddy Combs. He didn't even think about what if a pardon happens, but he relocated completely to New York to cover the trial. Now, he says that his rise to fame started in the as far as this courtroom kind of coverage, started with the Meg Thee Stallion Tory Lanez trial. He gained a lot of popularity from his coverage of, and that is something that they interviewed him about. And Armand gave, I seen him on a few platforms, but he was on TMZ as well. Look, content creators like Amon and Tisa Tells, they are doing it huge. And Tisa Tells was on ABC News as well as on Nightline, giving her updates and highlights as to what she thinks. So there is a shift and there's a movement, and many that, were a part of the voting and process and the rallies and everything when Trump was doing his rallies and everything prior to winning the election. Everyone knows that he has had a lot of conversation regarding shifting the press and how he thinks that news should be taken in, and what he and Elon Musk, their vision that they had of the future of hearing the news and where you're getting your news from and being able to be have a lot more choices as to where you get your news from. So there's a shift happening, and it's good. It's nice to see. All right. So let's talk today. It is Thursday, June 5th. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. That is my middle child, turned 33 yesterday. So here I am, just gracefully aging with my granddaughter. You guys know her birthday if you are on my socials. Her birthday was on the 1st, and she turned 17. So somebody is aging. I don't know who it is, but somebody out there is aging for sure. All right, the MTA lady. Let's talk about her for a minute. Farnsworth Bentley. We're going to talk about that. KK. I told you guys Week 1, I said KK is going to come up and it is going to be huge. And there is going to be something that is going to be connecting KK in a larger way. And that something happened today. So we will be talking about that. The judge reprimanded Diddy and came down hard on him to the point where he is in a lot of trouble and we may not see him tomorrow? Question mark. MTA lady had a hammer in her hand and it landed on somebody today. So we are going to be talking about this MTA lady. And Ray J was doing what? Not sexy, can I? He was doing what? We are going to be uncovering all of that today. So make sure that you stay tuned. Nikki, welcome back. Thank you so much. Look, the judge is not about to play with Diddy. You have been putting in some stunts and he actually was aware of it, but all the time you see with Judge Subramanian, he's the kind of person that, I can really relate to this judge, just in paralegal, and I'm now studying some high profile studies as I move closer into this legal law world, right? But listen, I like the judge's style. I thought about it when I walked into this career path. I thought about Judge because I thought, you know what, I have a lot in common with a lot of judges, right? So his style is unbothered, and I love an unbothered judge. An unbothered judge is just trying to get to the facts, get to what's being presented, look at the evidence, talk to the jury. He is in full control of his jury. That's something else that I am highly impressed about. He makes all the decisions, all the calls. Started out today to say, hey, I got y'all's lunch. It's laid out and ready to go. When y'all go to break, I have a spread for you in your room, right? So he's just really a great host in his courtroom, and I think that his courtroom is going to be talked about for years to come. But let me come off of my high level appreciation of the world of law, because I know that's boring for a lot of y'all. I will say this: the Harvard professor, I'm taking a course right now, Justice, from a Harvard professor. That class, I like that justice class. I'm learning a lot in that class, just to let y'all know. But let's get somebody said in the comments yesterday that y'all could care less about my life. So with that being said, let me get back to talking about this trial. Okay. So look, y'all, let's just skip over to number 4. The MTA lady was reportedly seen how should I can't say that. They said I can't say that. I got in trouble saying it that way last time. Let me say how I can say it. She was hanging a picture with a hammer on somebody's head in line today. Can I say it like that? She was hanging a picture, y'all, with a hammer on somebody. Okay, on someone's head today, and it was someone outside of the courtroom. You guys know that line outside the courtroom is ridiculous, as people are camping overnight like they did for the Switch toy that came out at Best Buy. You saw the line and people camping out yesterday. So people are camping out at the courtroom of Sean P. Diddy Combs. I don't think I ever would have in a lifetime said something a part of the main room. In the main courtroom, only 14 people are allowed to go in the main courtroom, and the rest of those folks have to go into the overflow room. So it is really trying to just be the person to get that moment, to get that exclusive. Some are just fans of Sean P. Diddy Combs. Some are just music industry lovers. Some are against him. It is just the most insane thing that we have seen in the United States in a long time. Okay, so I wanted to pop over here and ask you guys, what do you think about the MTA lady? Because her outbursts in the courtroom happened several times. There's now a report of $1 billion in the elevator. Like, she actually had a whole incident in the elevator. So there's all that going on in the elevator. You guys, in addition to now this incident, hanging a hammer on a picture with a hammer today, like, she's doing a lot. Do you think that she is a paid distraction? The industry can be a little, expressive. The industry will bring you things like, Blueface, or the industry will bring you Haley arguing with DDG. The industry will do things like that. So is this a stunt? Do you think that this is a type of stunt to distract from everything that's going on? And if so, who in the industry do you think is behind this MTA lady? So let me know what you all think about MTA. And I think they keep saying MTA because the lady has on an MTA jacket. So what do you all think? What is the MTA lady really up to, right? And then let's get into some tea. Mace Mace goes out of his way to really make sure that y'all know that he has never seen baby oil. He doesn't know what the color of baby oil is. He has never touched baby oil. He has never been around baby oil. He has never been around the likes of baby oil and Sean P. Diddy Combs. I don't know why Mace has to really overexpress himself on out with that all the time, but he is constantly on the platform letting you know it's not him. It's everybody else but him. Okay, so Mason Cameron, is that how you say the person's name? And don't let me say it all wrong because I know everybody get all upset if I mess up a name. They were talking about umbrella. Okay, they got into a conversation about Diddy's umbrella. That is the one that you all talk about. You guys ask me all the time on here, do you think, y'all, we're going to see Farnsworth Bentley? Well, we seen him come up in a conversation yesterday, and it was nasty. So Mason Cameron was seen on the podcast talking about Diddy's umbrella, just dropping that tea about Farnsworth Bentley. We've already seen Gene Deal talk about Farnsworth and how Farnsworth wasn't around and is not to be trusted. He says that Farnsworth Bentley likes to take a 5-finger discount wherever he is. So they said, hide your wife and hide your kids whenever you are around Farnsworth Bentley because he would snatch that as well. That is just what Gene Deal said in regard to why Farnsworth was actually let go from the company. Well, Mason Cameron kind of hint at on their podcast, they were talking in that clip, and they are kind of hinting at Farnsworth was, oh Lord, I just don't even know how to say it because it's just so disturbing. But I'm going to say it anyway because it's not really that disturbing because people have pretty much been saying this for a while. So they are basically saying that Farnsworth was carrying the umbrella and kind of being very doting and very, caring and careful around Diddy all the time because of who he was. So what do you guys think? Well, who do you think that he was? You already know. I think you know what direction this is going, right? So they did say that Farnsworth Bentley was Diddy's lover. So if that is the case, this married and married with children now, has kids and happily married and living his best undercover down low life. If Farnsworth Bentley was Diddy's lover, there's a lot about what he may know that they need to talk to the man that was laying low and spreading wide with Sean P. Diddy Combs, allegedly, right? So I think that it's getting closer to the fact that Farnsworth may actually be the one to show up in the court sooner rather than later. We shall see. Okay, but moving on to other co-conspirators. Look at that. I didn't call it Farnsworth a whole co-conspirator. But listen, breaking this morning, the prosecution says this, and it caused a tiff, so to speak, between defense and prosecution because they said this. We feel that after hearing her name in so many different ways with the witnesses and how she is constantly being presented in the positions and the things that are being said, that we definitely are feeling some Rico in these streets with KK. Okay, that's basically paraphrase what they had to say. Okay, so they are saying, listen, when it comes to KK, Christina Coram, we are seeing coercion. We are seeing bribery. We're seeing too much. We want to officially name her as a co-conspirator to the case that we're bringing against Sean P. Diddy Combs. We want to name her as a co-conspirator. Listen, if they do that, not going to look good in them streets. 504 people showed up. Thank you so much. If you will, tap the screen. If you can't hear me, also let me know. Listen. If they bring KK, Rico so Rico is gonna Rico on those Rico streets. Do you understand me? Like we are going, if they bring KK and then they bring Farnsworth and then they bring, I don't know, because it's starting to look like they need to go ahead and bring Gene Deal in to have a conversation. So if Gene Deal is coming in, do we now have a full bad boy operation? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think we have a whole operation at this point? And are they getting really strong with this Rico? And was that their intent in the beginning? Because the defense came in with a quick objection, like, we are not doing that. You are not bringing KK. And technically the prosecution can, say that they want to bring KK, but it's kind of messy. It's slick, it's nasty, it's devious in nature to do it in this manner. Because if you were going to do this, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you indict this lady? Why didn't you do this in the beginning prior to the trial starting? Right. So the defense, people say, oh, they can't object. Well, technically they can. And what they're saying is it's late in the date for you to arrive at the conclusion that KK is a co-conspirator. So if you're going to do that, why didn't you already do that? Why didn't you bring your charges in the beginning? Why now? Are you doing it because of media attention? That kind of thing. Thank you, Big T. I appreciate it. Thank you for my mod, Brent Reborn. See you there. Thank you for getting it done. For all those who are adding your thoughts in, see you in there again. Nikki, I appreciate you. Everyone showing up, know that I appreciate you. Getting a lot of censorship happening because of the topic, you guys. It has nothing to do, pretty much, it's not our fault as content creators, because this is a trial where the cameras are not in the courtroom due to the federal ruling of such thing. So people are definitely working overtime to try to gather as much facts as we can. And when it comes to Sean P. Diddy Combs as being an influential person in our culture, we have to get everything laid out as much as we can when it comes to what the prosecution is bringing, what the defense is doing, what's happening inside the courtroom, so that we can make sure that this man is not being bamboozled in those judicial streets just because he was birthed into brown. Okay, so we are definitely making sure that we go above and beyond to just cover this as fairly as we can. And content creators have been thanked by the media as helping, trying to really lay out everything. They can only do so much. We can only do so much on our platforms. And we hope that it's helping you guys arrive at a decision as well. No one's trying to say that Diddy was a saint, nor is anyone saying that he was an angel. The only thing that he did in common with Jesus was walk the earth at 12 years old. Diddy had a paper route, and Jesus saved souls. So no one's saying any of that, right? But we are trying to get to the point of what actually happened with this accusation of the prosecution saying that they have this whole operation of RICO going on under one man, Sean P. Diddy Combs, and how did they arrive at it? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And if you will keep it respectful, I appreciate that. All right. So the government, again, they're saying, look, we're naming KK as a co-conspirator. They didn't say KK. They said Christina Coram. They broke it all the way down. And the defense is objecting and saying, no, she's on the side of, she's in support of. She isn't saying anything against Sean P. Diddy Combs. How can you do this? And, they know how the government can slide it in and get it done. But the defense is doing their due diligence in front of their client to let their client know we're working for you hard and heavy, although this is doomsday. This is doomsday to hear that for their client. They still have to work really, really hard. And two things happened to their client today. They're like, okay, listen, bruh, like, we have been trying with you. You got yourself into God knows what. Once you got behind bars, you started using people's phones and trying to make phone calls. They're hearing about you just yelling, screaming, coming at people. And now you're being accused of this huge thing in the middle of the courtroom today. So, like, we're trying, but you're really making our job really, really hard, right? The defense wins this case, and they are going to go down in history. Movies will be made about them from here to the end of time, about how they were able to pull this off, because so much is happening that this is becoming more and more difficult to prove the complete innocence of Sean P. Diddy Combs. And I can only imagine how that team of 9+ are working overtime. And the reason why I say plus, I know you guys see 9 attorneys, but you do have Mark Garagos doing consulting and counseling on, and his daughter is one of the main attorneys. And you do also have paralegals, okay? Y'all not gonna forget about us in these power streets, okay? And you do have paralegals working on that case. I cannot imagine. I bet the paralegals on this case for the defense and prosecution side probably getting a good 4 hours of sleep a night. So shout out to them and all the protein shakes and coffee that they take in every day, because that is what it takes for us to do what we do, so that our attorneys win their cases at the end of the day. And we love what we do. Okay. All right. So I wish I was working on that one, because it would be legendary as to the things learned in this trial. Now, highlights from BB. Let's talk about BB for a minute. Or do you, okay, no, let's let you decide. Do you want to hear what the judge said? to Diddy today? Or do you want to go ahead and talk about BB? Because I need to throw in something about BB real quick before I get over to BB is going to take me over to Ray J. And you do not want to hear how Nicole Westmoreland, defense for Sean P. Diddy Combs, brilliantly crossed this woman to get that Ray J tea. But let's talk for a minute. Let's highlight Brianna's testimony. But if you do ask for something else in the comments, I'll take a look and see. Okay, so BB, it's so hard to say this child's names. Brianna Bongolan, right? Cassie's friend, 33-year-old, as of right now. Cassie's good friend, wanted to aspiring fashion designer because she didn't really get all the way there. We'll talk about that. Cassie's friend and Cassie's dealer, her testimony from yesterday, talked about her being the fashion designer dream, testifying under immunity. We did learn that also. She wanted to invoke her Fifth Amendment right on self-incrimination. Cassie often, and also claims that she at one point sold some to Sean P. Diddy Combs as well. She included things like X and Coke and Ket and G. Says Puff introduced her to using G. Don't know what that is. Claims that Diddy said to her yesterday in the testimony something along the lines of, "I'm the devil and I can unalive you," right? So we heard all that from BB yesterday, right? And then look, she claims also, at that point before they went to a break yesterday about Cassie um if you've seen the five heartbeats, have you seen that five heartbeats? And I'm disturbed as to why that entertained me so much. But aside from the great singing moments that happened in the movie, that 9 to 5 line became my line since the 90s. Like, my office hours are 9 to 5. I am heard and quoted often. People hear me all the time. When you come to me, you have something to say to me. My office hours are 9 to 5. But if you remember Five Heartbeats, and the moment when Big Red was, my office hours are 9 to 5, and took the person and got dangled them over the balcony. Well, Brianna says that Diddy did that to her. She claims, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie Five Heartbeats. You can rent it. Look at me trying to be like all the way, like I'm making money off of that. Anyway, go watch the movie. It's not free though. But you can go find the movie and you can watch it, but you will have to rent it. Okay. So anyway, she claims that Five Heartbeats kind of scene happened to her. Okay. So that he said, I'm alive you, and dangled her. And she's somewhere around the height of like 5'1" or something like that. She's 110 pounds at the time of this alleged dangling over the 17th floor balcony in 2016. Somehow no one saw. Also, no authorities were called. In her particular claim, where she has against Sean P. Diddy Combs, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. She does mention that moment, right? So Nicole Westmoreland, defense for Sean P. Diddy Combs, crosses brilliantly. Okay. And somebody, you guys had a convo. Let me see, what did I miss? What did Aries say? I literally said to my hubby last weekend, Ray J Ray J gonna talk and walk the sexy canine walk of fame into that courtroom and get all Rico'd out if he doesn't sit down somewhere. I highly agree, right? Okay, so Nicole Westmoreland is the defense. She's crossing BB, Brianna Bogalan, right? And Brianna testified and said that her and Cassie use daily, right? Heavy usage daily, right? I hope everyone grown in the room can cover and understand where I'm, put a check mark or say yes if you understand what I mean by use. If not, we'll guide you in some type of way, because it's going to be really hard to do so on this platform, right? So under the influence, the testimony is that they were attempting to start a fashion line. This kind of reminds me of, is it Jungle Fever, y'all? I got Jungle Fever. You got, I can't say Jungle Fever without singing the song. You got Jungle Fever. We're in love. But no, it's like, it reminded me of that. Like the moment of just being all over the powder and all over the little pipe. And then you have dreams. You're talking your dreams out loud. Like they were extremely touching the clouds at all times as they put this dream together of owning a fashion line. And when I hear this part of Brianna's testimony, talking about her and Cassie, and Cassie was going to be the model and she was going to design clothing, I think that if an argument happened with the Sean Sean P. Diddy Combs, who has created Sean John and bringing people onto his team. And he's trying to build his brand. And if he found out that someone was trying to start their own fashion line, working underneath him, trying to be greater than him, and doing it under the guise of his resources, he probably did have a my office hours a 9 to 5 moment without the dangling. I don't know if the dangling happened. That's her word against his. But I'm just saying, like, would you really want somebody to come work for you and trying to do exactly what you have going on? And you're supposed to be working and you're getting paid, you know, what the average podcaster on air right now, like some of the big shows that you see, they have an income. I think even what Just Hilarious is like what 700 k a year. Some of the others they're in the millions a year. Like these people get paid a lot of money. So you're coming underneath me trying to do what I taught you to do by working for me. That's nasty work. You definitely are going to get my office hours on 9 to 5. You're going to have that conversation with the lead of the company, right? So she testified under the influence they were attempting to start this fashion line, right? She also testifies that she was using, they had the lack of resources, they had lack of influence, and they had lack of knowledge on how to really make this fashion line happen. And that is why they failed to do so. Nicole brilliantly crosses with, okay, well, let's get back to the rugs and, the use of the X, the cat, the G. Where exactly did you get that from? So this girl sits on the stand and says, y'all ready for it? She says, from Ray J. And so Nicole whipped we could just see her whip her head back and forth, whip her head back and forth, because Nicole's like, wait, from who? So Nicole says, the singer? Like Ray J, the sexy cannot, Ray J, Brandy's baby brother, like Ray J. That's who, Ray J, that's where you got this from? So Nicole kind of says something like, does he sing? And then BB goes, no, well, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Child. Child, she's talking about Ray J. She's talking about sexy can I for sure. And maybe that is why Ray J is so extremely loud across all the interviews lately. Because Ray J knows that he's about to clink it up. Inside, he keeps saying, that's my boy. I just want to talk to my boy. Ray, you may end up having to come do exactly that. Because it seems like y'all are going to be definitely inside wearing orange together, because I don't understand what they're trying to say that you did, but they're saying that you did it. And the prosecution, if they end up deciding that you did it as well, if they feel like they have enough evidence that you did it as well, Ray J, your freedom is on a countdown. Okay, anyone else agree? Ray J's freedom is on a countdown. All right. Um. Okay, so we were talking. Sorry, I checked in with the comments. Sorry about the pause on the podcast. When it plays back later, they're like, "What exactly are you doing?" I'm reading the comments on a screen. Okay, all right. So, in addition to what I was going to say next, she says, BB says that Diddy, in her testimony during the Sean P. Diddy Combs trial, she's testifying that allegedly Diddy dangled her for, in, like I said, in that kind of big red style over a 17th floor balcony in 2016. And again, the question just becomes, I'm sure for the defense, no one saw it. Did you call the authorities? She shows a picture, if you're not familiar, in her claim against Sean P. Diddy Combs, she has a picture of a table, and then she has a picture of the balcony with nothing on it. And then there's another picture, kind of like outside the balcony with the mountain view. And Sean P. Diddy Combs is sitting on a lounge chair, and has his feet up on the wall, and they're just chilling, and he's kind of smiling, and they look like they're really relaxed. And that's it. And she says that he damaged the table while trying to hurt her that night. But in the exhibit that's in the claim, the civil claim where she's trying to get money, there's nothing really there other than her words about what happened. But I would go on to say that, like, this is what she's claiming. She filed a lawsuit after Cassie filed her lawsuit and received her large settlement. Brianna then goes and files her lawsuit, is given a money grab, y'all. It's a $10 million lawsuit, and it's a pending lawsuit as far as I know. And the defense could definitely push a money grab narrative right there if they want to kind of tie the two in together. Um, what's the relationship between Ray J and Diddy? Well, over the years, when it comes to right, that's a good question. Like how what exactly do you do for the Combs family, sir? But they have been really close. But if I then go, if I could just sit back for a minute and just kind of follow Ray J in my mind for a minute, um, and just kind of think about all the people that he's been so really, really close with, some disturbing pictures come up in my mind, and then some really big names show up, and then I see why he keeps saying. He said, "What? Let me quote Ray J again. Let's go back to the quote because I don't want to say it wrong. Let's go back to the Piers Morgan, all right? And let's get his quote. He said that he is continuing to stand by his statements in his interviews that multiple high-profile celebrities are paying Sean P. Diddy Combs trial victims. This is Ray J's quote. And Ray J also said to Piers Morgan that they're doing this to keep their names off of the trial. Well, Ray J, apparently you might be doing so as well, right? And then Ray J also said on Piers Morgan, seems like a movie. He said, but this is real, y'all. It's scary, y'all. It's uncomfortable, y'all. He said this on Piers Morgan the other day. He said all is going to come out, and when it is supposed to, a lot is going to come to the light. And then he added, the favorite stars that all of you adore, they do not want things to come out, but it's coming. So that reminded me of that moment right before Diddy kind of has to go through the whole thing of to getting ready to turn himself in, and when he had to turn in the passports of his and his children had to turn in everyone's passports. That reminded me of that moment where he's sitting there with Baby Love, and we're going to talk about Baby Love in a minute. But when he was sitting there with Baby Love, do you remember outside that beautiful statue at his home, and Baby Love, he was like, and Snoop Dogg, right? And Martha Stewart, right? And Mace, right? And the baby was Mariah Carey, and she was just naming all the names. That kind of reminds me of that when Ray J does that. Like, it's kind of like a silent, eerie threat to whoever he's talking about in the mainstream high profile A-listers, right? We don't know because, we don't know. He didn't say names in that Piers Morgan interview, but Ray J said we all adore them. So it's like, well, baby, let me tell you, when it comes to who I adore in the industry, that I'm not going to get started on that at all, right? Someone says, I'm a paraphrase you, Mobetta, I'm sorry, says that Diddy deserves karma basically for activity of, I'm gonna paraphrase that, okay? And then G says there's so many, let's go, so many. Um, Ray J does sound like a little dry is going on. I agree with that comment as well. All right, sorry about that. My puppy is getting all hyped. Okay, so I remember, I think I did talk to you guys about that. So, of course, the continuation of the cross examination of Brianna was happening in the courtroom today. Her testimony was weakened as the defense is able to show really brilliantly. Okay, what day did you say that this happened? Okay, well, here are the hotel receipts. Okay, when did you say that XYZ happened with Cassie? Well, here's what we have. And on these receipts, we show Frank, Diddy's little, when he checks in the hotel's kind of name, when he checks into the Trump hotel and all that, right? So he's like, we show Frank Cassie over here, and you say it happened on this day. Well, we have receipts showing that he was here on at this time, and we have proof of that he was in another location. So they're kind of unraveling her testimony, and the jury apparently is really seeing it and kind of nodding in support of the defense according to the reports coming out, right? So I will say this, there is a false report that's out there about Brianna Bogalan not on anyone's side, but there's a false report saying that she's been laughing on the stand. The people inside the courtroom that are actually doing reporting back to us on their platforms and they sit in the main courtroom said she is not laughing. She's just been calm and she's been answering questions. So I don't know who kind of threw her under that light, but they say that she hasn't been laughing. Diddy's family, as far as reports about people that have been inside the main courtroom reporting back, that Diddy's family do not all show every day. Of course, we've seen the main reports about the daughters. They haven't been seen since week one. They do say, we've seen the walk-ins, we've seen who goes into the courtroom. We all are tuned into those live feeds. But Quincy, Justin, Christian, all in the courtroom. Mom Combs, Janice Combs is in the courtroom most of the time. Best friend, the guy that outside the courtroom, he wears that free puff. I'll get his name in a minute if you guys want that name. It's in my notes somewhere. But best friend is seen inside the courtroom supporting his friend on a constant basis. And surprisingly, I guess maybe surprising to me, just because it's just, I've been trying to figure out this Dana thing, right? But Dana Tran, which is the mother of baby Love, she was seen in the courtroom today. Now, I know that we're getting closer to the witness Jane Doe, they are doing above and beyond that Jane Doe. They say that Jane Doe has the type of receipts and text messages and emails that has some really huge high profile information in it that would reveal her identity and also harm the identity of really important people in the world. Okay. And so that is the reason why we are not going to have anything on Jane Doe. They are going to go really hard and heavy to make sure that once they begin the direct examination of and the cross examination of, we're not going to be able to, it's not going to be like Mia. People are not going to be able to know who Jane Doe is. And they say it's high profile and almost on the level of the SS, the S service, how they're keeping her protected. Okay. So it's not going to leak out like that. But here, let's move on to what happened with the reprimanding today. Y'all still with me? Because you're gonna want to know this. Judge is Romanian. He's just a no nonsense. Let's get to the facts. I want to get through this trial. Stop delaying here. I don't want to see this. If you do this again, you're out. He kicked, MTA, we know, put her out permanently. He also put out a content creator that violated, what he felt like was the ability to keep Mia's identity. If you're in the courtroom or the overflow room and you're reporting or you're a part of the mainstream media, you're not allowed to be talking anything about who it was that you think that Mia is. Now, you could go on all your other platforms. Feel free. Legally, the attorneys have answered the questions. Nothing can happen to you about, talking about who Mia is, right? But as far as anyone else, they do get into a lot of trouble. So we've seen this judge put his foot down. He doesn't play. Well, today, Judge Zubramanian says to defense, that's the main attorney, Agnifilio, right? So he says to him, you guys, if I told you before, kind of following Agnifilio. I don't want to say this man's name wrong, but I know I do every time. But really following him because his wife is about to do a really high profile case also because his wife is the attorney for the dude that walked up the street and took out that main healthcare guy. You remember in New York, and his wife is the attorney for. So they kind of like are having their legal high profile moment, right? So anyway, Judge Zubramanian says to the defense, Agnifilio, your client has been looking at the jurors. The client being Puff. Your client has been looking at the jurors and nodding vigorously. This cannot continue, or a limiting instruction, or I am going to be limiting the instruction and you are not going to like it. I will be barring your client from this proceeding. And then he says, do you understand me? Subramania, you better they think you're just some young person and you don't have no authority in them streets. But Judge Subramania says, I have some authority and I'm using it today. Stop playing with that judge. I told y'all he's so cool. When he walks in, he has the beats on and he's chilling in his sneakers. But when he gets in on that stand, stop playing with that man. Okay? So he said, do you understand me? And so the defense, Agnifilio goes, yes, I understand. Man, the reports are Diddy out there Diddying in them Diddy streets. So Diddy done turned into Puff in them streets. You remember Puff? The one be cutting up back in the day. So Puffy up in there cutting up. And they say, people that are in the courtroom say yes. Now they're saying, they've been scared to say it until the judge says something. So today they're like, yeah, he's been staring at the jurors. He's been giving them looks. He's been nodding their way and staring that stare. Everyone knows the Sean P. Diddy Combs notorious stare, right? And he's been doing that at the jurors. Well, Diddy. 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 You're talking life in prison. No more private jets. You're talking no access to those luxury homes. You are talking no access to a staff. You are talking no longer having a personal chef. You will never be able to travel again. You will spend the eternity in jail. So the least that you could do, have him come to that high level, unless you personally feel like you are self-destructing for a reason. You need to act right if you want to go home and see the light of day. That if y'all can get that message out there to him, talk to the man and tell him the next time he call y'all, tell him, y'all get that message over there? Because doing things like that in this trial, that's not a good idea. Why, sir? Because they are trying to say that every time you stare at people, your image of staring is looking mean and scary, and you can make jurors not come back. You can make jurors say a one-way verdict and they don't really feel that way, but all kind of things could happen. Or you could be just so messy. Here's another thing that can happen if he keeps it up. If all the messiness keeps on happening, they could throw this out as a mistrial because too much is going on. And I know you think you want that, but if they throw it out as a mistrial, they're going to have enough time. They're going to go home for the 4th of July. They are going to enjoy Labor Day. They are going to settle down and have wonderful Thanksgiving and a great Christmas. And then they're going to bring you back in court and put the line up in your A. Okay, so I know you think you want a mistrial, sir, but I think that you should just follow what they need you to do and sit there and do how and what they ask of you, and stop being low-key, subliminal, problematic. Because if they really keep getting this kind of stuff out of you, it just kind of reinforces that you are the person that these people on the stand are saying that you are. Right? So have we made any of that crystal clear to Sean P. Diddy Combs? Because this is not a hangout at daddy's house and you're making a new album, even though we do expect the whole album to come from this. But this is not what's going on. This is like the fight of your life. This is your attempt to get back home to your children, and you're going to have to play the judicial game. And this is not a game that's favoring you, because they didn't even want to let you out on bond. Why did they not let you out on bond? Why did they bring it to the federal court in New York? They chose New York because you had priors, and they knew you had priors. And then if you're paying attention to the news, priors is going to start getting people in a lot of trouble. If you didn't see Greg Abbott roll in them streets and not play any games yesterday, you are no longer going to be allowed to get PR bonds. You are no longer going to be able to have decisions made about mattresses letting you out. If you have been acting a fool in them Texas streets, they are going to make sure that you are not out until after your court dates now. So once every other state starts picking up that on that very same thing that Texas just did yesterday, things like not going home into your trial will begin to happen to a lot of people, not just Sean P. Diddy Combs. All right. So Diddy does need to get it together inside of that courtroom, right? Now, a UK citizen made a comment on one of the podcasts covering the trial, and a UK citizen said this: "Look, the music industry in the US seems to be a front, and it seems to be a front for a lot of RICO in the United States. So tell me, do you guys agree with that comment? Does our Billboard top charting, Grammy Award winning, top hits across the globe type artists, do you think that they're all involved at some point in I want to name some names, but I don't want to get in trouble. But I kind of know kind of the people that they're talking about, and they're not all of color. Like there are some really there's, I don't want to say it. There's one I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do his initials. There's one that I feel like he's like the boss. I do. Every time you hear someone share about how he came and he showed up and he was kind of a little intimidating and a little menacing in nature, and he's short and it's unexpected, but his initials are P and M. Y'all, I have come up with this thing in my mind that he's the leader of something huge and big, and I can't drop it. I can't stop. I try to get it out of my head, and then I go to, well, wait, he was working with Quincy Jones, and then he was over here with Sting, and then he was over, and every time. So that dude, I told y'all how I feel. From CD to PM, I think they're the leaders of it all. But let me just drop that. But yeah, what do you guys? Do you guys agree that the music industry is the ground zero for like all of the negative activity that exists out there in an illegal way? Is that a strong accusation coming from another country? Do you guys think that that is what we are as well in the United States when it comes to the music industry? Do you think that that's what it is? Please let me know in the comments. Julie says yes. Ouch. So, because if that's the case, Julie, then it would be that when you see a big concert, there's more going on. Ouch. So when you see like large groups of people getting together recording in a recording studio, there's more happening. That's a huge accusation. That's an accusation that there's witnesses everywhere. There's staff, there are bodyguards, there's chef, there's maids and people from hotels and resorts and everything. Like that's a large accusation to just throw on the entire music industry. That's kind of heavy. 2.4 thousand people show by. Thank you so much. New followers. I appreciate that. Um, um, what a way to okay, if that's the case, then you got to go back to. We have to see this next upcoming series. Is it dropping on June 6th? Somebody tell me what day is the next possibly final season of BMF. When is that dropping? Because in the upcoming BMF series, they're going to be kind of tapping into how they were able to move into the music world with some of their activity. And then we would then be asking, is Ray J like a part of that also? And did Ray J come from that? And gosh, he just has that, handsome looks and innocent smile. And who would have thought, right? That Ray J is the man in charge. Like Ray J is the one. Hearing that Ray J is the one that everyone fears is equivalent to hearing about the fight between Tupac and Michael Jackson and how Michael Jackson beat that A. Like it's so hard to hear that, story, even though it's a true story, but just knowing that Michael threw hands like that is just, that one was a lot to take in, right? So then if we end up hearing that Ray J is the one that everyone fears, it reminds me of, you guys know what I'm talking about. He's on down the road. You know what I'm talking about? Like when they finally revealed and it was just like a little short little person. Like that's just it's really hard to see this man in this menacing, controlling, yo will all do everything that I tell you to do or else sexy can I mean I don't know what it's really we're gonna take it out with sexy can I almost can't not play that song, right? So it's going to be really really hard to grasp that, right? Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys trying to get it up there and tap it at the 6K. That's highly appreciated. That's great, as my grandchildren would say, right? All right, so I hope I covered everything. Let me go over my list. We talked about Diddy's umbrella, Farnsworth Bentley, possibly being a DL associate of, and will he be coming in looking closer and closer like he's coming into court? We also talked about KK, Christina Quorum. The government is now saying that they want to name her as a co-conspirator in this entire RICO that they're bringing, and the defense is highly against that, going, pulling back and said no, she's been supportive of and has nothing bad to say. And the government says, I don't care what she has to say about Sean P. Diddy Combs. She's being brought up way too much by the witnesses. The coercion, the bribery, it seems to really be coming at the hands of KK. And instead of just naming her alone on her own suit and her own indictment, we would like to name her as a co-conspirator. That's pretty huge news. And again, the judge reprimands Diddy today. Diddy, they said that they are accusing, well, I guess let's just quote the judge. Let me not say it. You know how things go in these legally streets, right? So let's get to Judge Zimmermanian's words, or paraphrase as much of it could. I tried to type the quote almost as I heard it being brought back from the person that was in the courtroom. Your client was looking at jurors and nodding vigorously. This cannot continue, or I am going to be limiting instruction. You will not like what I bring, including barring your client from this proceeding. Do you understand? And defense answered back, I understand. And defense is like, especially little Mark. He's the one that has to go sit directly. We all watch Suits, right? So he's the Harvey Specter that has to sit across from Sean P. Diddy Combs in those personal rooms to go over what's happening in the trial each day. So if that look that has now been reported by other people say they've seen that look that Diddy's been given to the jurors and he's nodding and he's staring really hard, if he's doing that look, I could just see little Mark in there shaking every hand, so he has to go in there and shake and say, look, sir, Mr. Sean, Mr. P. Diddy, Mr. Love, Mr. Daddy, I need you to stop doing that. Is that going to be okay? I see him just being terrified, trying to get Diddy to understand that I can't have you doing that anymore, or you're not going to be able to come to court anymore, right? And that would be really bad, and he doesn't want to get in trouble. And Diddy's like, well, I just want to get it thrown out. Who knows what's going on? That conversation, if only we are the fly in the wall, on the wall in that room. All right, the MTA lady had another incident. She's definitely trying to make herself as famous as she can be. Ray J has been named by BB, Brianna, the friend of Cassie, the also dealer for Cassie and the user for Cassie. Brianna, that testified for the last few days, says that Ray J is her, they were like, they defense crossed to say, you mean the singer Ray J? Does he sing? Yeah, no, yes, I think. I don't know. And kind of saying Ray J but she did make it clear Ray J is the name of the person where she gets her supply from. Ouch. Ouch. Brandy, get your brother. How many times do we have to say we have to say that to Brandy? So many times. Brandy, get your brother. Thank you for that, New York. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. Where else are we? Oh, do you have any additional thoughts? Did anyone want to say anything? I want to make sure to open up the floor. If you have anything that you would like to share, please let me know, and I will give you an opportunity to tap on in and have a conversation and add anything. If not, we will get ready to close on out like we do. Uh, Ray J about to be caught up in something. You know what, Ray J, what's going on? Like, I don't understand how this all came to be and why you decided that you would be this super involved. But if you're you're the main boss, like you're Scarface himself. Oh my God, I don't know what to do with that. I have to vision that. It's a hard vision. um Jane Doe transcripts, the way that they keep talking and sidebarring, and the reports keep coming back about how they're going back and forth, defense, prosecution, and judge, about how that they are going to be going above and beyond to not give anything to the media. I did hear reports that the media has been using their legal team to kind of say that, I guess when it comes to the rights of, this person that's being brought on trial for something as large as this, that his constitutional rights are in a sense being violated by not allowing the public to have access to Jane's testimony. So we'll see if the media is able, the mainstream media, we now have content creator media also, but as far as the mainstream media, whether or not they're able to really push something to make it happen. But from what I'm hearing, the overflow rooms might get cleared out when it comes to this testimony. They do not want anyone knowing, hearing, seeing, revealing, talking about witness number 2, which is Jane Doe. So I don't know who she is, but apparently whoever she is, the moment she's seen, when she walks in the room, the moment she begins to tell her testimony, the world will know. And that is why they are saying that they're being this careful. The moment the exhibit is shown, high profile names are associated with the things that she will be seeing, showing. There's a lot of nudity attached to what she's showing, in addition to a bunch of really names that they are trying to protect. So, ooh, girl, somebody said it in the comments. Who just said that? They call me Nana. They call my grandchildren call me Nana too. Listen, listen. Like when I say that's probably who, when I say that is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to say that out loud because I'm recording my podcast on a different platform as well right now. But what I am going to do, I am going to be looking at her roster and I'm going to be seeing whether or not she is where she is at the time of how quiet is her Instagram. Just so I can see, because it's so unfair that everyone else is outed, everyone else's identity has been revealed, but here we come when it comes to her. It is a constant protection. And that particular name that you just said, they call me Nana. Listen, she is well known in the industry for having somewhere of 5 to 10 plus type bodyguard things going all year round. The type of bodyguard for her is where she doesn't even go to a restroom by herself, really. Like she's guarded when she's in a restroom. Like she is guarded at all times. Her home's guarded. She's guarded whenever she's out in public. She doesn't have a shopping moment, a workout moment, not no church moment, taking the children to school. Nothing is without bodyguard and protection, and it's been that way since the 90s. So you are almost spot on with who that could possibly be, right? Mm, we shall see. We shall see. But Jane Doe wants to be protected, and supposedly she has to be protected, and they are not going to be revealing, Jane Doe in any type of way to where we may, even if we have transcript, you guys. I'm not going to be the one to talk transcript, because she roll hard in them streets. If it's who I think she is, she rolls hard in them streets. My family is high, I have high profile military. I have, you know, military in my family. I have law enforcement. I have all that in my family. And I'm going to be scared and shaking boots to say that girl name if I find out the name in them streets. Like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it privately when I'm offline. I'm not going to say it when I'm out walking and running at the gym. I'm not going to say the girl name. Because she is really that kind of powerful. So if it is her, y'all can do that on your own. Y'all scared of Diddy, and I'm more worried about her. Okay, okay. All right, that's all I have on that. But thank you guys again for coming by. We spent way too much time. We went over our time. We sure did. Oh yeah, we went over our time today. So I appreciate everyone for coming in, and I have to get out of here. As always, the full show recap and all that will be on YouTube. Give you a moment, if you will. Link in bio. Please click on my bio. Please also continue to support the other content that I put out. I highly appreciate that when you do. What D Says the Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, type in What D Says the Podcast. You can also just go here and follow the link on bio if you are tuned in, wherever you can hear me right now. The bios have links. You can click on there and go and check and tap into the podcast. You can also tap into reading of the books. I am almost done. I am can I say that safely, Ma? Do you think that I am? What I did was, something happened in the Diddy trial, and I decided to write a part of that in this particular relationship book, you guys. So that's what delayed the book a little bit, because there was something that happened, especially when it came to Cassie and some others. And the book is reasons circle back. And that's, we're talking about the persons that circle back. I'm introducing to you Sophia and Ethan, and they have a relationship where they met online on a dating app, and some circling back kind of happened, and some drama happened. And I'm giving you the relationship tips and that. And I decided to add something in the narrative of what I saw during the testimony. And because I insisted on adding that chapter, I have delayed the book. But that happens. And I'm an indie author. I'm not mainstream. I haven't pissed off a publishing company. I've only pissed off myself. So it's okay. I can delay my own book, right? But, books coming. And I promise you, y'all are going to love it, because there's so much. People circle back all the time. And that circling back can get you into spaces pieces of something that you witnessed over the last 3 weeks during this trial. All right. So we were going to kind of throw that into a Sophia and Ethan chapter also. Okay. Will Donald Trump pardon? On the two, maybe not. Let me not quote. That's why I saw him. One of the podcasts, a former attorney for DT, was on a podcast, and he said something about. He was like, I wouldn't look too much into a pardon happening with Diddy, but he did. Like all of us, we're reporting back that it was shocking and surprising for the reporter to just directly ask the president, will you be giving Diddy a pardon? And his response was a shocking response because he then came back and said, something along the lines of, we used to be really good friends and, he was a close friend of mine. And then he kind of went into, but he's, when I was running for office, I heard, Sean P. Diddy Combs talk bad about me. And I don't think he really likes me. And I think that he would really need to kind of, I haven't heard anything more. And I haven't heard from anyone. He says, his administration and the pardon administration, no one from Diddy's team has even asked for a pardon. And then the former attorney of DT was saying that, it was his opinion that a pardon cannot be asked of. Hold on. What I did do for you guys was when he said that, I went to verify something because that attorney said, well, we need a conviction for a pardon. But technically, that's not true, right? Because even before a conviction, the acting and sitting president before a conviction can say when the United States versus a person, the United States versus Sean P. Diddy Combs. So when the United States is the one that's bringing this, a sitting president can say, sir, we forgive you and we pardon you prior to a conviction. He can do it. He can bring this trial to a close. And maybe if they unpack everything that's happening, or let me not say that. Let me not say that because that gets me in too much trouble. Is the DJ ready to play some music? I almost said something. We're not gonna say that. But listen, a sitting president can say, we forgive you before charges, before conviction. Yes, that can happen. That has happened. We have seen that happen before, right? So yes, a sitting president does have that kind of pardon, power to pardon in that way. So he doesn't have to wait for a guilty or all that. He doesn't have to do that. He can pardon at any given moment in this case. Whether or not he will do so or not, I don't know. I didn't know how to the extreme vocal Sean P. Diddy Combs had been regarding the sitting leader, but 50 Cent made sure that he posted on his Instagram to show us, in Diddy's words, what he had to say. So if you want to see what he had to say about the sitting, then you can definitely see that. It was up yesterday, on 50's Instagram. So there's that. So if that is him and it's not AI, it does look like AI to me. I'm gonna tell y'all. That clip that 50 put up, I guess there was a time when Sean P. Diddy Combs kind of gained some weight like that. It may be him, it may not be. I don't know. This image right here was created, that you see of Diddy standing in front of the courthouse. That was created with Meta AI app, So and what do you guys think? Doesn't it look like an actual photo of Sean P. Diddy Combs? And that's a Meta AI generated photo curated by me, right? So who knows if that clip that he has on his Instagram really was something that Diddy said? It could be AI. I have personally never seen any clips of him talking bad about the person that's in charge right now. I thought that they were always friends. When I was watching the coverage of the documentary of Jeffrey Epstein and the coverage of, I was there, so I assumed that they were friends also. So just like the leader of the nation says he thought they were friends, I'm the same way. I thought that they were friends. I know nothing about him having a problem with the president. So someone may be lying to the Preezy from the United States on that. There is supposedly, and we're going to close on this because I am going to be bringing this in full detail. This will be a complete conversation the same way that we have been talking Sean P. Diddy Combs. We are about to be talking another huge name, and you are going to want to tune in every time you see me go live with this one. But there is a lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Okay, y'all get ready. We know the lawsuits. We know that the attempt to serve papers has been happening for a long time since the men left the United States and went to Bali. Okay, and some of you already know who I'm about to talk about, right? So, but yesterday he was spotted. I don't know if you guys know this, but he was spotted in about a week or two ago. A YouTuber was walking on Times Square near the statue that we remember when we covered for great length and many days. We talked about the plus size statue in New York. Well, which remember, if you want to see that, is only up until June 17th. So if you got to get your tickets and get to New York, squeeze your way in if you can, because it's crowded going towards New York right now. But he was spotted. So Russell Simmons was seen in New York. And people said it's not him. Russell would never. He's not going to come back because he's running and he's, not trying to be a part of. But listen, the girl had on her YouTube, she had Russell in a complete interview. Okay. So she, how you run and get an interview as a content creator. So she's running and talking, and Russell does his thank y'all for coming out. God bless, good night, kind of walk by thing that he does, right? But it was definitely Russell Simmons. Well, yesterday, reports are that he filed a lawsuit against, y'all not ready. He filed a lawsuit against HBO. And his lawsuit is claiming, oh my God, I don't know. Let me see if I could pull this whole lawsuit up. The lawsuit is basically saying that, listen, I don't know who's trying to put me out here in this, in this light of I did these kind of nasty things and disrespectful kind of things that people are saying about me, and a whole HBO documentary is put out and acting as if the things that were in that documentary are true, and they are not. So he did a $22 million lawsuit against HBO. So we are going to be following that very closely to see whether or not, because in my eyes, if HBO settles with Russell Simmons, right? Don't you think that they're admitting that they didn't have enough evidence? And then they're probably, what do you guys think? Is HBO out of line about what they're putting out about Russell Simmons? And is he in the right to file this lawsuit, right? What do you guys think about that? And we'll talk about it. It'll be a whole different topic. It'll be a separate topic on its own. Give me time to do the complete research on that so that I can also come back and read that to you. I heard that it's $22 million and that he's demanding from HBO, defamation kind of lawsuit regarding what the documentary that was put out about him. So we'll see. Also, who also filed and clapped back was y'all were cutting up. I'm gonna blame y'all, even though I know it was my podcast and I was the one cutting up. But listen, I'm gonna blame y'all. Y'all said all that about Smokey. Y'all sat up there and repeated everything that those girls, those former maids, had to say about Smokey Robinson. And Smokey Robinson don't feel like playing with y'all either. So this is what Smokey Robinson did. Smokey Robinson went and filed a counterclaim and said, you know what? I did not do this. I would never. I would never walk out there. Only thing you're gonna ever see me do is wear them red pants and gyrate on the stage. Okay? You are never going to see me disrespecting women. And I don't like that that was said about me. And he's coming for his coins as well. He's coming for his coins to protect his name. So Smokey Robinson has also filed to say, I did not do that. So we will follow up. I will follow up on that prior Smokey Robinson talk that we had. We'll follow up on that one, okay? I will also post that Smokey Robinson discussion up on YouTube when this one today posts also. That way you guys can go back and take a listen and get your opinion and thoughts on that. All right, I'm out. That's all I have to say today. Thank you so much. Follow the host. Links in bio. Get those YouTubes, recaps in full. Comment on the I almost called them shorts. That's YouTube. Yes, comment on the shorts. You guys give 1K plus views on the shorts on YouTube. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Continue to support those. Also, the reels. You guys are growing over there on Instagram. I am D Shields on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, and YouTube, and wherever it is that you podcast or entertainment, shorts posting stream. I am D Shields. I am DEESHIELDS. Also, you TikTok here, I have some recent talks and things kind of off topic. We're going to be talking about Texas because as he made his decisions, he did huge move for education and what the bill, he made it official, he signed it, he didn't veto it or anything. It's good. The teachers are in a good space. I love to see what the pay raise is, phenomenal, shocking pay raise for teachers in Texas. So wow, right? I do know that some school closings and things like that are happening. You guys now have the complete freedom in your community to no matter where you are, whether you're here in Austin, Texas, wherever you are, you have the freedom to choose whatever school. You no longer have to worry about, no, he can't go to that school because it's not in, there's no bus to it. You no longer have to go through that. I know that's kind of, no, he can't go to that school because it's not in, there's no bus to it. You no longer have to go through that. I know that's kind of been a thing already, but now it's official. You can send your child to whatever school you want. And parents, you guys are receiving money back when you file your taxes and things like that. So huge move in Texas with that. He did his thing with the PR bond and bail. He's coming hard and heavy for repeat offenders of, listen to this new law. I don't know where Texas is going to go, but I think the United States across are going to be on this. Ladies, get your emotional intelligence in check. Get your emotional intelligence in check. Men, get your emotional intelligence even more in check, because there's a law going now where if you so much as tap a girl on her finger, just like halfway pop her, you're going to do time. It's now a felony to put your hands anywhere on somebody in a disrespectful DVAB essay kind of way, for sure. But any type of hurting a person that is your person that you're in the relationship with, you're doing felony now. It's no longer misdemeanor. They're going full fail for you. So I suggest that you learn to keep your hands to yourself. I suggest that you go to therapy. I suggest that you learn all the lessons from this Sean P. Diddy trial. Okay. And learn how to act right in the streets, because they are getting really tough on that kind of stuff, right? And Texas has also, he hasn't vetoed it yet. He has until June 22nd. But they're banning THC. And when I say they're banning it, growing up Austin was a life where people would get pulled over. And if they were engaging in the green, I almost said it the wrong way. And if they were driving and engaging in green and they so much as had a cloud coming out the vehicle, anything like that, the LEO would pull them over and then they would go inside of the vehicle. And if in your ashtray, which many a dummy had back in the day. So if in their ashtray you had, the what they call street, the roaches of, they would give 10 years per roach, right? And it was really aggressive and it was really bad. And people were doing 10 years. Most ignorant ones had like 5 and 10 roaches in the ashtray and they would do, years, right? Well, the new law, if he doesn't veto this THC law, it's going to kind of push back into those days, you guys, because he doesn't want to see it at all. He doesn't want any dispensaries, supposedly. There's a lot of petitions, and the veterans did a 60,000 veteran signature on, to fight against it. Three veterans showed up to really fight and push hard before midnight that day in Texas. But now it's sitting there on his desk. It's verified that he now has it. He has the signatures. He knows it's all there. And he has until June 22nd to veto it. If he doesn't veto it, it's law, babes. And September 1st will be the day. And that is when it's not allowed on them streets. And I know you guys love to do a vacation, because all the countries that are being banned now, you need to learn how to go visit as many states as you can. So if you're not in our state, let me warn you, here's something that you may have never heard before. But growing up Texas, there's a very famous thing that people try to make sure that we tell people all the time. Come to Texas on vacation, leave on probation. Don't come here playing with them if this law goes into effect, because they don't want to see green anywhere. They're removing it from the corner stores. You know how the corner stores have had synthetic and they've had recreational and they have Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta, all that, no more. If he doesn't veto it, come September 1st, it all has to go. There's no area, no county, no street where it will be allowed. There will be no green in these streets if he doesn't veto it. But he does have until June 22nd, and we'll talk about those things at another given time. All right. Thank you so much for coming and gifting. I hope you guys got something. Did you get anything from today? I hope you did. Covered so much, over an hour and a half. Thank God it's Thursday. Because only one more day and then we take the weekend. Okay, so again, Monday through Friday, that is when I come on. You will see me normally in the noon kind of time frame. I try to do anywhere between 12:30 and 1 p.m. Central when I go. When I am on the East Coast in July, it'll be several weeks. I'll update you. I'll give some really good updates, because depending on how the trial goes, we are going to have a lot of conversations. But I'm traveling at that time. So but I have you. I got you. I'm going to still show up. So what I'm going to do is just, this is the side where I work for free. Where you guys pay me absolutely nothing to do what I do, but I still show up. All right. So I will still show up for you. It's okay. It's my calling. It's what I do. You don't have to gift me or anything. I'll just continue to do this for you for free, right? No problem. But I will let you know when I'm on the East Coast. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I'll make sure that I get it done. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. And we're out. Follow the host. Connect. Watch my TikToks and all those things, because that is a way that you pay me, by listening and supporting and following and connecting. So thank you, because I'm always giving thanks. You don't have to do it. You don't have to come here. There's plenty of places to go, yet you do. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, I'm out.